One of the most interesting things for me is we spend a lot of time, well, not a lot of time, but we spend more time than I would have anticipated taking a look at where we're lending and looking at weather and looking at 100-year, 1,000-year floodplains, and are we lending in places that are do we understand the risk? Are we contributing to a healthier, more environmentally sustainable country, or certainly in the regions that we're lending in? What are some of those other things that may not be as intuitive to others? And if there was something that was like as surprising to you as that was to me?
Yeah, I mean, those have all been incredibly surprising. And a huge shout out to our enterprise risk management team and their climate risk function on a lot of the work they've done to think about how both the physical changes of climate change, so the flooding, the storms, the heat, the drought issues are going to affect our customers and how we prepare for that and think about it. And then also the transition issues. So as we move to a lower carbon economy, how that will change our customers' business models. And that's been really, really interesting to learn about, to watch how the industry is addressing that. When we think about it too, there's also a lot of backlash to that. And so that's been an interesting area to try to thread the needle on. And one of the areas I'd say that's really been forced to mature around sustainability is connecting what we do really closely back to our stakeholders. So one of the things we've seen a lot of litigation in the last couple of years around ESG, and from constituents who think that corporations aren't doing what's in the best interest of their stakeholders. So we've been doing a lot of work around making sure that we understand what our stakeholders are concerned about, and that we're really focused on that. And so we hear from a lot of our investors this concern about how are you protecting their investment from climate risk, which we historically have not taken into account in material ways. Yeah. Cyber is another one that I think comes up all the time. Thinking about that as another kind of existential risk to a company whose, I'd say, one of the core values we provide our customers is trust, is the trust that we have their money, we have their capital,
information.
We have all of their information. And so lots of conversations too about that as an existential threat to us. How are we managing that, and how are we making sure that our customers are comfortable with that?
We spend a little bit of time worrying about that around here. It's on my mind occasionally. But to your point, I think about threading the needle, helping our customers understand even the transition, and helping those who may feel threatened by some of the work. Talk a little bit about. We've gotten letters from some states, threading those needles and trying to be true to our mission that has been long running, well before sustainability, of just being an honest broker, in the communities that we serve.
Yeah, the investments that we've made historically in being a trustworthy player, in demonstrating our ongoing commitments to communities. We show up in a community, we stay there. We don't pull out and re-enter. You don't see us doing a lot of that. And I think that's bought us credibility, which is really, really helpful when you're thinking about some of these areas that we need to try and thread the needle on. Yeah. I think the other thing we've talked about a lot is, as a community bank, or a bank that serves communities with a strong geographic footprint, we need to serve the whole of our community. And we need to think about those four pillars from an interrelated perspective, because there are communities that we exist in that have significant economic dependence on fossil fuels. And so while we see a transition coming, we need to work really closely with the community, with our customers, to understand what those impacts are going to be, how we're going to support them. And so we've taken an approach of saying that we are not exclusionary. We lend to the whole of our community, which is really important to us, and our approach should be risk-led. So we've been working through that, which I think is really important and gives us important leeway to make the best decisions for the community, and for the rest of our stakeholders.